Hello guys, it's MattPat here. I on a Wednesday night just got done. You can still see it. It's swinging over there. Sponsored video, Raycon earbuds. And the thing is that I really want to get across is that nothing is real, bro. Nothing is real. But maybe there's something fine with that. You know, sometimes your life can feel like a performance, a play acting. Right now I'm doing it. I'm sort of doing it. I was talking to myself. I talk to myself when I'm alone. I've always done it. I never stopped doing it. I'm currently yelling. I said 12:30. I was talking like this before. Before I was talking about there's a bunch of sprinklers and stuff. So there's a ton of dead grass everywhere. And to me, it's sort of like, why are we wasting all this water just for grass to die? Because it's like, I guess we live in a place where grass is, I don't know, the grass we put in here, it can't survive, right? But my thing is, grass survived before we came here. So like, why? I get cutting it down, but why feed other grass water? Why not just take the grass we get? I mean, there's a lot of fucking dead. There's a lot of mud outside. There's a lot of dirt outside. So why do we have to feed other grass? But my main point is, you know, humans, as far as we know, we're like the only thing in the entire universe that even makes fiction, I think. I mean, you could be like, oh, well, this bird made a painting, you know, they did surgery on a grape. But I wouldn't really count that, you know, because it's just a bird fucking around with paint. And maybe you could say maybe you could say I'm doing that right now. Maybe you could say I'm just fucking around with words. I mean, other things talk to each other. They're obviously not as complicated, complex as ours is. But, you know, they could use language. They can use language languagely. My point being, we have a very special relationship with fiction. You know, I've been thinking a lot about Pixar. I think they released a movie. I don't know. It's called Hoppers. It's good. It's bad. It's internet discourse. It's shitty. But the thing about Pixar is that about 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago, they released this really bad movie, in my opinion, called Inside Out. The thing about this movie that really gets me is that it is like a holy, like Skinwalker. It is not. It is under the Pixar label, but it is not anything that you'd find in any Pixar movie. It's not anything you'd find in any quality movie. It is a horrible fucking movie, and in my opinion, it is a mockery of all things, like human. You know what I mean? It's a mockery of imagination. It's a mockery of the studio that was once able to make things like Ratatouille, which is without a doubt the greatest piece of fiction. I don't know about the greatest, but it's one of the greatest pieces of fiction I've ever seen. You know, Monsters Inc., even stuff like Monsters University. It's a movie I really, really actually love. Maybe that's because, once again, I grew up listening to it, or watching it rather. But my point is that Inside Out fucking sucks, right? It tries to be sad, it tries to be emotional, but it just ends up being so incredibly hollow and kind of fucking insulting that, like, such cookie cutter shit can make so many people actually feel genuine emotions. To me, it's like astonishing. To me, it's fucking terrifying that there is such a subset of people that looks at this horrible fucking movie and actually finds it emotional when, oh my god, the character's crying. There's such an emotional scene. She's looking at this orb and, oh my god, she looks at this orb and then she cries, but she's Joy. Joy's not supposed to cry. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Bro, what the fuck are you talking about? How does this make you feel anything? You know, fiction to me means a lot. I base basically my entire life around fiction. You know, I don't want to get into the communist propaganda, but like, fiction is a product. All fiction is a product made up by people to make money. And that's something you have to make peace with. Because that's not really true. actually is fiction is a marriage between a product and business, right? A product and a vision. That's not what that's what I meant to say. It's a marriage between these two things, and if you can really get it right, if you can hit it in the middle, you can get something really, really great from this. And like I said, us humans, we have a very unique relationship with fiction. I mean, what do you do all day? What do you do all day? Fiction has taken over our fucking lives. I'm walking around in this park right now. Funny thing is that, like I said, it's about 1 a.m. If I ask anyone else to do this, what's the first thing they would say? Oh my God, that's so dangerous. Oh my God, that's so dangerous. What if you get killed? What the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? It's such a funny response to what I'm doing, because it's like, do you think that serial killers just walk around parks at night to fucking kill people? I mean, yeah, that's the thing that happens. That's the thing that has happened in the billions of collective hours that people have been alive and walking in parks. You know what I mean? What is the chance that there's just a fucking random serial killer? What the fuck is the chance that there's Michael Myers? There's 2 cars sitting over there in a parking lot. Are they going to run out and fucking kill me? No, because it's not a movie. But, you know, people like to act like it's a movie. And in a lot of ways, our lives are like movies. You know, there's a funny little trend you might see. And the sad thing is that people, once again, is almost as scary as the Inside Out thing, where it's like people denigrate each other based on these liking of these things. You know, it's like red flag movies, you know what I mean? And you see these huge disparity between like what a young guy and what a young girl is in. Like, I was sitting with this other girl I know. I was watching this guy, Obese Loser, this fucking channel. I found this channel. I thought it was this I thought this video was fucking hilarious. This title was hilarious. It was like Obese Loser. I was like, I know this video is gonna be great. And I was sitting there laughing my ass off, but she was like, I don't like this. I don't like this guy's voice. He sounds like a chud loser. And what I'm saying is that the funny thing is that people's experiences, they experience things so differently. And that's something great that fiction can really provide. But something not great that fiction can provide is judgment. You know, judgment. When you talk to people, you say, hey, I really love this movie. Honestly, 3 of my favorite movies, maybe not 3 of my favorite movies, 2 of my favorite movies, Truman Show and Fight Club, both fucking awesome movies. I was going to say Office Space for the third one. Office Space, I really love. The first half is fucking amazing, but after that, you can tell it just didn't really go right. After that, the movie really slows down in my eyes. You know, whenever in the middle, whenever they upload it and everything's wrong or whatever, but, you know, things go off in the end. And you could tell that there was a little bit of production problems. At the end, they rewrote the movie. Like I said, it just doesn't really stop right. But me saying Fight Club and Truman Show are my favorite 2 movies. Some of my favorite movies. Like I said, Ratatouille is up there. It's a great movie. Monsters University, another great movie. Really love that movie. That's besides the point. My point is that some people will hear that and they'll be like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, because other people who are stupid, other people who would probably go to the park and fucking murder people, they like those movies. And maybe that's not true, but, you know, the thing that really gets me about these things is that fuck. So I'm trying to look at something I really want to see one day is Venus, because that'd be fucking cool. Venus or Jupiter, something like that, or Sirius too. That'd be cool as hell to see. You know, North Star. What was I gonna say? When I sit down and I feel emotions to someone in real life, I cannot describe those emotions. Sometimes whenever I do it through text, when I can sit there and I can write out a little letter to people, I still can't actualize myself in their mind. You know, there's this idea that we're all alone because nobody will ever know. You know, there's the exact same thing. You know, Vsauce made this video like 12 years ago. Is your green the same as my green? Something like that. Where somebody could be seeing something completely else, but because everything is green, they're like, oh, well, that's green. But they just see something completely different. Everyone could see something completely different. Everybody probably does see everything a little bit different than everyone else. You know what I mean? And there's probably two people at the ends of the spectrums where green is just fucking like pink to them or something. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that really gets me about fiction, is it's probably the truest possible explanation and subjugation of someone else's thoughts that you can give. And that's the thing that makes it so pertinent to me. That's the thing that makes fiction so personal to me. And it's so sad to see that I've always lived with a bunch of people. I've at minimum I've had 4 sisters, 4 sisters, 2 or 3 or 4 brothers, depending on who you ask. And the real thing that always gets me is that after all these people, at a certain point in my senior year of high school, I was completely alone. I was the last one in the house because I'm the youngest one. And it's so funny, it's like dramatic irony that I was the last one standing. That I was born when everyone else was around. And by the time that I grew up, they were all gone. And that goes back to my point of explanation of your feelings. Like I said, there's no way that you can implant a thought into somebody else's mind in the exact same way as yours. And that's the thing that really makes me sad, that I can go to the park, and when I'm here, me and my friends in high school, we used to, like freshman year, sometimes we would just go to a park and we would just fuck around. And mind you, we were like 15, 16, 17 years old. But we would fuck around and play on this park equipment like we were fucking 3rd graders. And we were out at the time of our lives. And that's the thing that I think about most when I'm out here. I don't know if I mentioned this. I'm listening to fucking Aphex Twin right now. And the reason why I did that intentionally, just because it fits. It fits, and it's also really cold outside. It's quite cold outside. It's quite chilly. So, I don't know. It really works together. I kind of wish that my bike was working. My bike is broken, so I can't use that anymore, which is unfortunate, because that's really cool, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes your life can feel like a performance, like you're just going through the motions. And to me, the real question that I have to ask myself is, why can't I write? I used to be able to sit down and I used to be able to write full videos. I used to be able to write like 30-minute long videos on the history of the fucking ARPANET. And I really love making those videos. And I look back at those videos and I really think they're still pretty great. I still like them. But I just can't do that anymore. And it's like, I'm older now. Why can't I? Shouldn't I be able to write better? Should my writing be deeper? But no, it's more surface level. And I don't know how to feel about it. You know what I mean? The past couple days, I've been waking up or going to work and then going to bed. And in a lot of ways, I can't help but relating to Truman. I can't help but relating to the guy from Fight Club, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't even remember his name. It's not Robert Paulson. Robert Paulson is the voice of Wacko from Animaniacs and a bunch of other people. But, yeah. It's like, why can't I? Shouldn't I be able to write better? Shouldn't I be able to write better? I don't know. And it's funny because last night I had this sort of inflection point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to throw away the Xbox. I'm going to put away the Xbox, whatever. I'm just going to force myself to do nothing all day but sit down, watch stuff, and write and make music or something. So far, it hasn't worked. That was last night, but I've been really rethinking it. I think that's sort of a strange decision to make. I don't think it is really going to pay out. Same thing, I was like, okay, I was pretty much just on this self-improvement grind type thing where I'm like, also, You know, I look down at my stomach. There's quite a bit of fat there. So I'm like, also, I'm not going to eat any big sugary things. So I'll eat, like, things that have sugar. Like, I'll eat fucking potatoes. I know they're going to be turned into simple sugars or whatever the fuck. Who cares? But I'm not going to eat, like, drink like Dr. Pepper. None of that lasted either. Really, the question that you have to ask yourself is, why am I doing this? And I think the answer that I come up to is because of fiction. Will I die if I walk late at night, in the middle of the night, in a park? Maybe. At some point. Maybe there'll be a wild dog. Maybe some drunk driver is going to come run me over. Maybe Michael Myers is going to pop out of the bush. But, you know, at some point, maybe one of those things will happen. And maybe I'll be able to look into the eyes of my killer. Whatever it is, even if it's like a heart attack. Maybe whenever I fall into my deathbed and I look into the eyes of death, maybe then I'll feel peace. That's the one thing about life that's not like fiction. Is that it's not a straight line, unfortunately. You know what I mean? But the good thing is that eventually it will end. Eventually you'll see your end. And based on, you know, reports I've read, based on things I've seen, that ending should be pretty peaceful. Hopefully. Hopefully it'll be peaceful. Who knows? Maybe it'll suck. Maybe it'll suck complete ass. Maybe it sucks. Maybe the near-death experiences where they see God and they feel love and stuff like that. Maybe the 12 minutes or whatever of brain activity, maybe that's all false. Who knows? You just got to wait and see, little bro. You just got to wait and see, little bro. You just got to wait and see.